All right, so this is Tuesday, September the 27th, 2016, day 2 of Microsoft Ignite in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're about to hit the first session and hit every session we can. So Erica, what was the one you and Ryan are going to?
Keep your OneDrive and SharePoint content safe.
Which a lot of people don't think it can be done on the cloud, but everybody here begs to differ. And I am going to do the some more on Skype. Just trying to make raving users out of Skype users, if you will. So anyway, go CBC, and we'll be talking throughout the day on what we've learned. All right, so in this particular session on how to make your users raving fans of Skype, we talked about what a raving fan was about, what's in it for the end user. Are the users excited for the new technology? A lot of times we present it to them, but we really don't show the benefits and the use of how this can potentially help their students and their end product. We want to give them an emotional experience. We stressed a lot in the sense that kind of like a raving fan at a football game, or kind of the way I get when I call football games. You kind of get into it and it's a passion you have. We want to be able to get that niche, that thing that will push people to that emotional level to make them enjoy their product. We need to listen to the end users. They talked about that. Adoption, very important. Daily habitual use and deep utilization of the product, such as Skype for Business. So really it was mostly about getting people all, I guess you can say, pumped up, fanatics about their product. We talked about video-based scenarios as well, 3-minute videos, producing small little snippets of videos as our end product. Skype community was very important. They talked about the business community, so like a Coastal Bend College Skype, or a whatever the case might be, your own department, your own group with the Skype community to start sharing information. That kind of went along with Delve, where they talked about being able to extract data of similar likes, if you will, between users. So that's kind of what we talked about this morning with the fanatics of Skype. Okay, the session on the OneDrive and SharePoint file collaboration dealt a lot about managing it all. They talked about the folder creations just for management purposes. Could we collaborate totally on the cloud? That's kind of my own question. Could we collaborate strictly on the cloud and not deal with desktop applications? That's kind of the direction we're going. On the administrative side, it was pretty interesting. When I say administrative side, I mean by permissions and rights and so forth. Like some of the options that the company was talking about was like sharing. They share with anyone, including anonymous users. How long do you leave links active? Like if I share a link with a user, they're set at 90 days. At some point it would expire. So we need to kind of look at some of our own CBC admin settings as far as how we have everything set up for the employees, but for the students it may be a little bit different. We have to be able to consider changing the two and not necessarily having the same options available for both. They talked a little bit about the sync options as far as when and where you can sync. You got your personal computer, you should be able to sync it to your desktop or to a folder on your computer. That way you have synchronized locations, if you will. Let me see. Those were just some of the, they talked about storage too, how much we allow our users in OneDrive, how much we allow our groups in SharePoint and such. And also the retention of data as to how long we keep data stored before it gets deleted. When somebody leaves, where will the data go? That was a very important discussion that we got into there in the OneDrive and SharePoint file collaboration. Okay, this session was on the Millennials, if you will, the millennial generation. OneDrive, and knowing that the millennial generation deals more with their smartphones, tablets and such, so the idea that they might want to, they do much more perhaps on those devices as opposed to a desktop. So we dealt with that. One of the things I know that at Coastal Bend College we do have a nursing group with Luana Hernandez where they're utilizing the notebook feature, and I'd like to look a little more into that because how are the students using it versus how the employees are using it? Something to really consider. Right now, 300 million students are using Office 365. Also discussed in this session were Forms, and Forms is one of the apps also used at and in Office 365. So we need to consider the millennials also as we move forward. This is the session on plans for Microsoft Office 365 success. So how do we use Office 365 successfully?
Who's not only from a communication perspective, but then who's now going to help you drive the training aspects? What kind of training opportunities are out there? You can use this to document. Then we give you a timeline as to when you should start sending out these type of communications from us working with customers along the way. T-5, T-4, and all the way back through the process, who the particular owner should be, and how you can orchestrate this change throughout your organization.
Okay, so one of the deals that I covered, the last session I covered, dealt with Fast Track. And at fasttrack.microsoft.com, you can go in there and start basically building your vision as how you want to move forward with Office 365. So it's an online fasttrack.microsoft.com, and you can actually go in there and start building visions, goals, and so forth for the use of all the applications with Office 365. So anyway, and I'll be trying that out pretty quick. So discovering the future of Microsoft SharePoint development. We're dealing with just a few ideas here. This one got a little bit more in depth as far as behind the scenes, but just a few things that we talked about, what's new and what's coming with Office 365, best practices, preferred techniques and such. I was really interested in one of the features in SharePoint where they actually added fields, built forms, and made it more customizable. So I'll be looking at some of that. They talked about web parts, which I've always interpreted as widgets, and they're called web parts. Again, they created a nice little poll, a nice little survey that can be thrown out very quickly. I know there's a forms feature in Office 365, but this was built within SharePoint, so I want to check that out. And it might, again, mixed in with Dell, it gives us statistical analysis as to departments, who's utilizing what feature inside Office 365 more efficiently, who multitasks, a lot of data analysis throughout the sessions thus far. Anyway, okay, we have joined together because now we're in the group session, and this is about working with groups, which could ultimately open up a whole new avenue of possibilities. So Erica's eating right now a Reese's peanut butter bar, but this session right here is dealing with groups, and so this is something that could kind of maybe even get into the classroom area. We don't want to say particularly that it's going to eliminate an LMS or anything like that or take the place, but it has potential at least now and moving in, right? Am I right, guys?
It'll eventually be able to connect to the SIS and you can be able to pick up the classes and pick up the students in that class, put it on one shell. It's similar. They did not say it would.
Not all in one shell. It's all in one group. It creates a group for you.
That group is equivalent to a classroom?
Yes, a group is equivalent to a shell.
Okay.
And then, but it is a lightweight.
Yeah.
A lightweight version
compared to Blackboard.
Okay.
So
which I would
depending
understand.
on what you are looking at as far as the LMS, like what,
And it will be included in our Office 365. But right now it's out for beta. So
the classroom.
It's in public preview. And all we have to do is turn on that public preview and you can actually look at it.
That's what we're going to be looking at here for groups in Office 365, or as us cool kids say, O365.
And Planner is really is another one that I went to was Planner, and the cool thing about Planner is that the task you can be more specific as far as the task. You can create your own assignments and entering your own information. So if you want more in-depth details as far as task is concerned, Planner is probably the way to go. The only downfall is, which I'm going to have to talk to them, is Planner is like Groups where it automatically generates an email address. So.
That's what I was hearing, that if you're a big email user, that Planner's the way to go. If you're
Or Groups.
That's what,
Planner, when you create a Planner, it automatically creates a group, which will automatically create an email, which will and it will also automatically create a SharePoint site. So when you do Planner, it creates it all for you, all in one. So it's pretty cool.
So we were planning ahead, aren't we?
So the Planner is barely, it's not big. They just came out with it, so I don't know if we will be implementing it anytime soon because it just came out. So they're still working on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in development right now.
I would love to. That's what I'm going to be.
This is what we're here for.
Groups.
So we're going to talk to
Hopefully.
some people for the next 3 days on groups because this is big. Okay, so we're going to learn about Office 365 groups and how to use them. Okay, so it's time to go listen to the session on Yammer. Left the groups meeting a little early. Ryan and Erica are working on that. But I need to talk about getting loud with Yammer. And that's where I'm heading as soon as I found Microsoft Theater number 3 here in the Expo Center. It's actually working out loud in Office 365.
But before I dive into it, there's been a lot of discussion in this conference about digital transformation and the power of increased effectiveness of our organizations through digital transformation. And we'd all know that practices like agile, design thinking, collaboration are really at the heart of these new digital ways of working. And they're there because we know they make our organizations faster, more effective, they enable them to learn and better leverage information. And one of the reasons why I spend so much time promoting working out loud is because working out loud is a practice you find in each of agile, collaboration and design thinking. They're all about surfacing information, bringing stakeholders together in dynamic ways to get work done faster, leveraging the collective potential of the group. So why do we want to leverage the connective potential of people? Well, frankly, there are just far too many silos. Our information and our work is stuck in silos everywhere. We all know the team and organisational silos, but actually some of the most challenging silos in our organisations are our hard drives and our heads. The best things in your organisations are buried somewhere on someone's PC, or they're sitting in their head, or they're in part of their phone that they once used. What we're trying to do with working out loud is get that information out and moving around the organisation so it can be discovered and leveraged by people. Tacit information, the information about how we do stuff, the knowledge we have of how to get things done, is some of the most valuable knowledge people have. And it's not written down anywhere. In fact, sometimes they can't even describe it to you. They can just do it for you. As a collaboration consultant helping organisations with Yammer and Office 365, everybody said to me, you need to write down your IP. First thing you should do is think about your approaches and document everything. And to me that looked like a whole lot of work directed to a bunch of clients who'd be quite remote, and I wasn't sure I'd get value from it. So what I did instead was invited a number of key partners, invited some potential clients, invited some Microsoft employees to join me in a conversation about the best ways to implement Yammer in organizations and how to take my ideas and translate them into what clients wanted, what partners had seen be effective, what was the most effective approaches for Microsoft. It was an incredibly powerful approach for me and all of this was done in a Yammer group. It was being totally transparent about ideas, things I thought needed to be developed. And what I found was my approach got completely reshaped by those conversations, because I thought I needed to write long documentation and people were like, no, we need a workshop. Can you get us a couple of hour workshop? Can you put it on a canvas? by dealing directly with the stakeholders who are involved in that work, I was able to get their input and shape a better outcome. You're going to share a tentative post, the one you're not quite sure about, the email that's not finished. Your finger hovers over that return key, not quite sure you're going to send it off. And we do that because our organisations have taught us work should be perfect, it should be complete, it should be the best possible representation of our capabilities. And so our organisation put pressure on us to finish things, to close them down, to lock them off, to hide them until they are perfect. And of course, as we all know, they're not perfect when we release that first draft. We get a lot of feedback, we get a lot of guidance. In fact, sometimes we discover we've done completely the wrong work. I wanted to tie these practices to creating habits. And so what I did was, first thing in the morning, I said, as I drank a cup of coffee, that coffee that fills my caffeine addiction, I'm going to share what's ahead in my day. I did that in Yammer, posted to my team, here's what I'm going to work on. That sometimes generated conversation, other times it just generates awareness. When I sat down at lunch to eat with my sandwich, I would look through my various channels and start to respond to something. Maybe someone had asked a question that I could help with. Maybe someone was working on a challenge and I needed to dive into that and foster them forward. Or maybe someone just needed guidance as to who to talk to. Sometimes the best things about working out loud are making your network visible so other people can leverage the network. What we've been hearing on Working Out Loud across the Office suite, and I loved Delve when I got my first demo of Delve, because a lot of the pushback you hear about working out loud is because to do it today without the support of an algorithm, it's a push approach. I've got to send a message out into the world. That's a risk to me, that might be creating noise, that might be creating concern. When you see tools like Delve, you suddenly see the opportunity in this Office suite to have information shared across the platform in very simple ways. And Delve gives you that ability to pick something up and share it into Yammer if you need to give it to a particular group or add it to a particular project. It surfaces relevant information and enables you. I like to think of this as algorithmic working out loud. And the important point here for you to think about implementing working out loud in your organizations is the algorithms behind the Office suite are going to do this anyway.
Get in here, y'all. Get in here. Can you see us?
They're going to think that we've been together this whole time.
I know, right? Hey, no, but the idea of working out loud, it's at workingoutloud.com. And there's a lot of things that are being used by people, but a lot of times people are afraid to push their information because we've been taught that it has to be perfect. So what this does, it allows us to go and employ, how do you put it? Get people to start talking out loud through this collaboration. Because what one person knows, another individual isn't aware of that, and this makes it possible to distribute the wealth, kind of like we've been talking about. So it's kind of cool. Working, what is it? I'm sorry, workoutloud.com.